ask me how I feel. Not great. Out of sight, out of mind, out of state. Right now I'm solely focused on the process, switching up the mindset that makes me better progress. On a mission to be greater than the greats. Plenty bad decisions, everybody make mistakes. Looking at this mirror, I can't stand to see my face, but can't settle for less knowing everything's at stake. I felt it all coming from the river, I'm no fortune teller. I can't see the fake, but hear the hate on my Helen Keller. Jealous niggas in me throw rocks and how they hands planning to take me out like a first date, but can't keep up the way I move. San Diego for the views, hit the casino, but everything I never lose. I've been real from the start before. If I let you tell it, man, knowing that I'm better, just tired of being a nigga, man. That's all I'm saying.
Peace and grace, kinfolk. Welcome to the Black Owned Podcast. I am your host, the main man with the game plan, and the game plan and the same plan. I've been a major figure since baby pictures. Janice's oldest boy, Sincere, is in the building, and I got my co-host with me.
Yo, it's features. Y'all know how I'm here, how I'm coming, all that.
All that. You good?
Vibes by V.
Hey, look, I seen this. You seen this thing, Cutthroat City?
No.
You did see this? Oh man, this thing is so funny, man. T.I.'s in it. He played like some type of gangster with vitiligo. It is hilarious, man. Every time I look at him, the makeup ain't even good. It looked like he got brown paint on his face. It is hilarious, man. It's like he been getting the business about that. Also, he been getting the business. I guess he was pulled a gun on some woman last year.
Oh no, I'm not.
You ain't hear about that? Oh man, pulled a gun on the woman, and now I don't know why now, but I guess now she coming out with it, and Tiny was putting on blast on Instagram.
That PUA done ran out.
That's what happened. Yeah, well, she coming with it. It's getting a little sloppy over there. T.I. looking a little suspect, but wifey came to his rescue. So you know what I'm saying? I guess we'll see what that's talking about in due time, I'm sure. But we got a great show going on for y'all today, man. We're gonna be talking about Free at Last is the name of the show. What happens when felons are freed from prison? What type of programs are available to them? How their lives are affected from the time that they had done and transition into actually being free men and women, and how that works or does not in some cases. Got a couple real special guests that do some great things. It's going to give us some great insight as to the topic at hand. But first, as usual, we got Peaches Picks. Drop it on them.
Okay, y'all. I am so hyped today. Got to give a shout out to Grego, Rockland, Cleveland guy. He sent me the article on the executive order. Did you guys know that on January the 26th, it was enacted into law the order to reform incarceration and to eliminate private prisons. So,
big move.
And what that means is that the government will no longer renew the contracts for privatized prisons. You know, and it's a great thing, but I'm kind of scared. It's shit gonna get a little crowded.
Yeah. I mean, it's you got good reason to be skeptical.
It's 2 million people incarcerated right now. Guess how many of that is minority? 50. You know, so
50%.
Yes, and guess how many? It's all 13.4% of Black people live in the United States.
Facts.
Okay, and guess how many private prisons it is, you guys?
How many?
Too many to count. Just enough to hold 121,400 prisoners.
Dang.
So, of course, I'm a contracting officer representative, so I know what it means when they say they're not going to renew their contract. So they're about to shut the whole operation down.
Right.
Which is a good thing because now, you know, people can't. They still gonna, because we're black, they're still gonna get the book thrown at them. However, the judges is gonna be more susceptible to send you guys to prison because they ain't got nowhere to put y'all.
Right.
You know, the prison boom, of course, Kamala Harris and President Biden, led some of that. They fought that
Indeed.
fight.
Yeah.
And it's ironic because I was skeptical because I just felt like it couldn't be any change. I guess he on his shit because he's trying to prove people like me wrong. But hey, it is what it is. He trying to get reelected. He does.
Yeah, but
black type of people.
So what comes with that executive order is that any private prison that has a contract with the Justice Department. So it's not all private prisons. So all private prisons are not going to be closed. It's just those that have contracts with the Justice Department, which is actually a small percentage. You know what I'm saying? Dirty Joe trying to do what he can, but you got to do a little bit more than that, player.
Yeah. I mean, it's still the first 100 days, so we'll see where it goes.
Right.
I'm still waiting on my 1,400. That was supposed to be stamped before you went to bed, buddy. No, I'm just.
I ain't get nothing.
My second pick is the situation that happened in Louisiana with the 4 girls ages 12 to 14. They've been charged with stabbing a 15-year-old girl to death. Man. Well, one of them had second-degree murder. The other 2 had principles to second-degree murder charges.
Right.
Like I said, it happened in Lake Charles in a Walmart. Apparently, they had some type of beef. They followed the girl, caught her in Walmart. The girl actually stole the knife that she used to stab the girl in Walmart. Now, and to think what type of race or, we're supposed to be building each other up, building the next congressman, the state senators, the representatives.
Right.
And we got 12 to 14-year-old girls in Walmart stabbing people like another child.
Stabbing each other.
And when they was running, they said, we just stabbed that bitch. We don't give a fuck. The mental health stigma that is plaguing us as a black race is real. Facts.
And what 2 things came to my mind when I read this. One, I was actually blown away by how young these girls are. I don't know if I'm just out of the loop or my expectation of girls is a lot higher than it is for little boys. But I couldn't believe that it was 12 to 14-year-old girls and that the oldest female involved was 15 and she was the one that was stabbed to death. The second thing that came to my mind was not long ago, maybe a week ago or something, I seen that there was a video of King Von's girlfriend or sister, one of them, meeting up with another girl to fight. And this was like a big deal. They were like going back and forth on Twitter or IG or whatever. And they actually met to fight.
Somebody. Yeah.
Right. How many young girls you think seen that and was influenced or would say that they are down to do something like that?
What we got to do is look at the backgrounds. Some of us grew up at a point where you can't show weakness. You can't exhume that. You sometimes you can't be the bigger person. And again, I said the mental health stigma as it runs rapid in our community. Number 3, the internet has created a environment where people with only Twitter fingers, as we should call them, or a mouth can go and voice their opinions without fear of reprisal. Right. But some days you got to stand on it, and they're not ready for that.
It's just sad to see, these little girls, and that's what they are. They're little girls. Their lives are wasted. You know what I mean? And that I just think of it. I'm a father, and so it makes me, my heart goes out to everybody affected because it's not just those little girls that are affected. Of course, there's going to be considerable collateral damage done in the way of their families, because of this a split moment decision. You know what I mean? And again, you're young, their brains are not fully developed, so forth and so on. But I mean, it's shocking to see something like that go on, inside of anywhere, but definitely inside of a Walmart. where you're just, so reckless and so, I guess, with your life that you would stab, someone in Walmart, and it was 3 girls who stabbed this little girl. I mean, it's just a sad situation as far as I'm concerned.
I'm listening. I'm getting messages. People can't get on the live, so I was sending them a link. I apologize.
It's all good. So, I see a couple people comment about that Cutthroat City. It was trash. But it was just funny to look at because it was trash. Shout out to the I Often Wonder podcast, man. I've been on there, a couple of times. I see y'all tuned in. Appreciate you. The big homie Mel Wall, I see him on there too, man. Appreciate you, your homeboy, for tuning in. And now we're gonna move forward to our first guest, actually. And I'll let Peaches introduce you guys to who we have here, and he's going to be able to speak considerably and give us some good insight on felons and what it is that they do or don't have available to them once they exit the system and re-enter into public society. Go ahead, Peach.
Okay, guys, this is 79's finest, Mike. Cleveland in the house. What gravitated? First off, I gotta read this because I don't want to leave out any of his accolades.
Yeah, please don't.
This is a true definition of what turning my life around is right here. I apply him. We're so tight. We've never met in person, but this is my boy.
Thank you.
Okay, so of course, you guys know he's a graduate from Cleveland State University. He has his master's. He's pursuing his doctorate in education. He's a motivational speaker, a minister, a current songwriter and artist that we are definitely going to steal one of his songs, to hook to one of his songs, to incorporate in our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
He had earned his first degree as liberal arts from Cuyahoga Community College, Tri-C as we call it. He professional on here, so undergraduate in communication and management from Cleveland State University. Subsequently, he received his master's in education with a focus in adult learning and development from Cleveland State University. Third, he is a doctorate of street science. He's significant to this podcast and this show because he is a convicted felon and he turned his life around. But I'm not going to tell his story. He's here for it, and just for us to let you guys know that it is possible. It is possible to still get an education. It is possible to turn your life around. And it is possible not to get caught back up into a vicious cycle. Once we hear from him, we're going to kind of give you guys a couple tools that's out here for felons, so y'all don't fall victim to the BS and having to deal with an ungrateful woman because she has the ability to tell you to get out her house. So we're going to listen to Mike. I really love this guy. He's a stand-up guy.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
We appreciate you being here, man. If you would just kind of, give us your story. We're gonna hit in a lot of the areas, but just kind of give us your story so that we know that where you're coming from.
Oh yeah, I see you, Peaches. Thank you. I'm 40. I'll be 43 years old next weekend. So I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, on 79th and Superior to be exact. So at the age of 13, I was introduced to drugs at 10. I used to run errands for uncle's friend. At the age of 13, I started selling drugs, and I also became a member of a gang called the Vice Lords. So I ran with the Vice Lords. I used to go to meetings in Chicago and everything. Then at the age of 15, I left the gang life alone, and I just started selling drugs full time up until 2004 when I visited a church. Of course, I've been to church before, right?
Right.
But this time it was different. The word touched me, and it was offering time, and I went up to the altar, and I took my T-shirt off. I was bare chested. And I didn't understand what was going on at the time. I seen everybody, you know, jumping and praising God and things like that. And afterwards, when I went home and went to bed, I had a dream. I was walking down 86th Superior, and everything around me was on fire. And there were 3 people I was trying to petition to follow me, and they didn't want to go. And next thing you know, there was a flood of water on 84th Superior that was coming my way, and I woke up, went to church the next day. This was in May 2004. Told the pastor about it. There were a plethora of clergy around me. And he told me what the dream meant. He said the fire represented the hell that I was going through in the world, but the water represents the word of God. So no matter what I do for this day forward, know that I'm saved.
Right.
And just keep coming. So I consequently kept going to church. And the more I kept going to church, the more I stopped doing other stuff. And one day in 2006, June 19, 2006, I was walking a friend home from church on 74th and Lockyer. Yeah, you remember Peaches? Yeah, the white church.
Yeah.
And I was walking through a gas station. There was a young man. He was robbing me. He was from Star. He was about 13 years old. I let him rob me. He didn't even take my money. He shot me twice in the stomach and shot my friend 4 times in the chest.
Wow.
My friend's still living. I still have bullets in my spine to this day. 2009 came. After that, I taught my first sermon in July. Never became a licensed minister. Like she said, Doctor of Street Science. 2009, I earned my GED from Tri-C at the age of 31. Started college that summer. I quit a year later. I got married. I consequently got divorced in 2017. However, by that time, I was working on my undergraduate. So I've been in school, or I was in school for 6 straight years. From 2013 is when I went back. I left that out. 2013, I went back to finish my associate program, and I graduated in December 2015. The next month, in January, I started my undergraduate. I received my undergraduate in communication management. 2018 May, and in the same month, I started my master's program. I got my master's degree December 2019, and now I work on a PhD at Liberty University online. And I'm looking to build a school.
Okay, so what inspires you? Them days that you want to quit? What pushes you to go forward?
The vicissitudes of circumstances in life, my daughter, and the people that I feel I have a responsibility for. That's what drives me the most.
How did you pay for school?
Work. I worked at Cleveland State University. I also worked like at a grocery store. And yeah.
Was you able to get financial aid?
Yes. With ease.
There's a stigma amongst felons that they feel like they can't get any financial aid because they have a drug conviction. They don't understand that it's only for a certain amount of years, right?
Correct. Yes, they can. They still are able for. Yes, there's a certain amount of. They have to at least, from my understanding, have to at least be home for
5 years.
Year. 5 years. That's what it is. Okay.
But it was 5.
Yeah.
I met someone. I keep cutting you off.
No, go ahead.
Because you had a felon. Did you use any of the programs that was in place for felons, or No,
I didn't. Quite frankly, I reached out at the time, but it was to no response. So I just developed a proclivity to move forward.
So you said I'm about to skip them. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
That it's like pulling teeth to even become part of that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What about how is it when you I know you skipped over the prison part,
Oh no, I didn't hear you. The audio kind of went out for a minute. Go ahead.
I know you skipped over the prison part, but
I'll go to it. I'm sorry.
When you were released from prison, what's the issues you were having as far as trying to be reacquainted and re-entered into society?
Oh, the main issue was I was released from prison.
But before you answer that, what years were you locked up?
From 4 year. It was January 2001 to January 2002.
Okay.
Yeah, and one of the main issues the issue was unable to find adequate employment.
Mhm.
The employment that I was encompassing was, especially at that time, was only $7 an hour, $6.85. So it, not using that as an excuse, but it propelled me to get back in the street and hustle, because bringing in too little money was more of a discouragement than not having a job at all.
Fact. So I know that you know, when you guys come home, there's usually the first thing that, you know, everybody thinks about, and family included, is what are you going to do as far as work is concerned? Other than work and having to bring in income, what would you say is one of the hardest things that you have to kind of try to push through to avoid recidivism?
Not being caught up in the culture, under the influence that's around you. That's the main umbrella.
Right. So I have a very good friend of mine. I have a family member as well who did a stretch, and what he needed most was family, basically, right? So I know that there are some guys who have a very solid support system, guys and gals who have a very solid support system waiting for them when they come home. But what about those who do not, but they want to try to get away from that, you know, being around in the same environment, on the same streets that they were on, that led to them being, you know, locked up in the first place? What are some words of that you would say they should, you know, kind of live by to keep them from going back?
Well, the first thing I would say is that family are not always those who we think are family just because we share the same blood. Family, I view family as people who value you, people who understand your world. Like, for example, Peaches and I've never met her personally, but I view her as family.
Right.
He values me. And the second thing is exposure. You have to get around, like, new people. New people can introduce us to new ideologies and perspectives that our current circle oftentimes cannot introduce. And I personally always had a proclivity to step outside of the hood because I knew I had a more grander purpose than what I was doing.
Right.
I just figured it out. So when I got exposed to new people, first at church, and then it also led to education, it fascinated me.
Right.
To see people who did not know me was my biggest supporter, more than the people I grew up with in my own community.
What were there any programs available that you took advantage of once you came home?
No, not at all.
Did you know of any?
Did you know?
No. Fatherhood initiative, but I wasn't a father, and I did not know of any, quite frankly. No. I would ask around. Go ahead.
No. I have one that, because they men, they're not gonna hit around it. One thing that I feel, you know, and it's because of my family. Of course, everybody know I don't have the cookie cutter life. I come from a family of family, you know, family. You know, one thing that I've always noticed that was a downfall was picking the wrong woman. You know, guys, I of course there's first of all, let me just say that out of 10,000 felons that's released from jail, 203 of them are homeless.
Wow.
They're not going to tell you about the you know, the obligation that the state has, and that HUD has an emergency housing number that these guys should be able to call to get housing. You know, when we don't know, or these resources aren't being provided, they put them in a position to choose a woman that they would have not have looked at twice had they been on the street. And I feel like that's where you all fail, especially you at home. He said dysfunctional. Yes, very dysfunctional. You know, you come home, you move into with this woman. You know, a lot of times you guys undershoot yourselves because y'all don't feel like y'all good enough for a woman of stature. So you got to look, and like you said, not knowing and not networking, you looking in eyes reach. You know, you look too hard, you're gonna see a cigarette butt, but you don't want that. You looking at a real live walking cigarette butt. But guess what? She got a house. You know, she get food stamps. You know, she seems like she take care of her children. You know, y'all might not have none, you might do. You go into these homes and you change these women's lives. You know, you show them different. You have something to prove. Oh, I don't want to go back. I'm not going to be just like I was. You know, I got a purpose to prove I'm a man. So now you go into these houses and for some reason it don't dawn on y'all to look around. All the kids, daddies missing probably but one. But you're the goofy one in the house.
That's true.
All the kids daddy missing. You know, you ain't no beef. You can go in there. You don't got to worry. That should be a sign like something wrong. Don't nobody want this bitch? You know, you know, so when you go in there and now you got something to prove. Now, not only do you have to fight against the outside world, you can't even come home and take your shoes off and kick your feet up. You know, you providing for kids that's not yours. You know, you guys, some of y'all been in jail a couple years, your credit good, everything that was fucked up on it and fell off. You got these upper 6, low 700 credit scores. You go get a job, guess what? She seen you coming, so you finna upgrade her life, upgrade her raggedy apartment, make sure these kids good because this is something that y'all took on that you shouldn't have to. You know, I feel like, and that's the cycle. And it ain't just, it's not just felons. You know, we got veterans that to the same thing. Money dry up. It ain't the same. Go back home. You know,
nothing is 100% across the board.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. We know some not looking, you know what I'm saying, to do right. But Mike, what I want to do is I want to commend you on doing something like going to get your GED at age 31. Yeah, just that mindset alone speaks volumes because it says that it's never too late, right? And you got your education, you're working on your doctorate right now. One of the viewers, Damon, asks, what's the goal upon completion of your education?
I want to build a school in my community. I want to have the intellectual acuity of disadvantaged and marginalized people. And not just a regular school. I want to create a curriculum that focuses on those who have felons and how they could, like, let's see, let me narrow it down. To create a staff of not just counselors, but licensed psychologists and clinical psychologists.
Right.
To help those who have been in amidst trouble to first focus on how to get a job and try to close the communication gap between employers and felons. Number one. Also, not to make this a religious thing, but I do want to implement like some spiritual biblical principles in the curriculum as well. Because just to develop, we all have a moral compass. You know, we all have different beliefs, and that's fine. But just to help develop the moral compass, that's a main objective right there. And to go around and speak, I have a desire to speak around the world one day, and I will focus on transformational learning.
Okay, so of course I gotta be devil's advocate. You know, I love your.
I've got you. I know you, my girl.
Initiative. I love that you dream big, like your song.
Oh yeah.
You know, but you want to build that in a community. You know, I'm from Cleveland, so I know where he grew up at. You know, if you don't live over there, don't go over there. You know,
right? That's true.
Yeah. So
I agree.
How are you gonna get that, and how would you protect the people who actually have a desire to help in your community once they leave out the front of the doors of the school? How are you gonna protect them?
Right. Yeah, that's a very good question. Yeah, because it'll take more security. It really, it's all about, what I would have to do is not just build a school and send people to it, but I would have to go out and do some forging in the community that surrounds the school.
Right.
Because we have to be responsible for protecting each other. So I would try to implement or orchestrate combine like a street team, but not just the normal street team. People who really care. You know, oftentimes, and people don't about how much we know. They want to know how much we care.
Right.
Talk to 'em. Talk to
Yeah,
'em.
and that's just one of the objectives that I would implement on protecting those people. Try to force people who really care. And I know that
Awesome.
sounds maybe vague or big, but it's
No,
No,
it don't sound
it was-
vague at all. It sounds good. Sound
yeah,
like
because that's what happened with me. When I seen people who really cared, that's what made me want to change. You
right.
could tell when they weren't just trying to go on this diatribe pontificating their knowledge. You know, it was more so like, bro, you good? You hungry? Like professors, like you straight. They watching my daughter for me, like, and I'm like, wow, they care. They not,
Right. Yeah.
and ain't nothing they trying to get from me.
Yeah.
I'm talking about white people, Arabs, devout Muslims. Well,
Right.
like for example, when I graduated with my undergrad, one of my professors who was Arab, her and her friend sat with my daughter while I walked the stage.
That's what's up.
But yeah,
That's what's up.
That's
Hey,
right.
we're gonna keep you on because we're gonna still get back to this conversation in a different, kind of way, but we're just gonna include someone else in on the conversation. I put it down as an author, as an artist, and as an advocate. So everybody, if you would, welcome to the show, Miss DeLisa TreShelle. Did I say that correctly?
You did. Hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can. We can.
Okay.
Welcome.
Right.
Hey,
It is it is
Hey.
great to have you on the show. I read your bio. I am thoroughly impressed with what it is that you do. And we're supposed to be talking about your business. We're going to talk about that first, but we also want to include you in on this conversation because I know that you have a special program that you do as well that deals with inmates. But first, speak to us about ordained canvases.
Yeah, so ordained canvas, y'all. This story is it's mind blowing even to me. So I'm gonna try to minimize it. My dad has been incarcerated pretty much all my life, and I went through many things, just with men relationships, everything else, all because I did not know how to rekindle that relationship with him. And so finally, after years, like my dad has been writing me from jail literally since I was a kid, sending me drawings. Everybody knew he was a great artist and things like that. And so finally last year, I decided to reach out to him. Now, fast forward a couple of years back, I kept being drawn to art and paintings. Had no idea I had to give, even though my dad is an artist, had no idea. So with me talking to him on last year and forgiving him and restoring the relationship, it's insane. So I started Ordained Canvas. I started shipping my art pieces from home, people that wanted acrylic paintings and things like that. And then me and him start building our relationship. And so I started to incorporate him as well in the business. So I'm the owner of the company. He does a lot, he does a lot of handmade drawings, and he only uses color pencils. They're called map colors and pen, which is insane. And he literally can draw anything. And he also does like purses and wallets, and I mean his gifts are beyond. So Ordained Canvas was basically birthed through that, and it went from not having a relationship with him at all, me picking up art, starting an art company, doing all of this stuff, or shipping people art and stuff like that. And then now I'm actually getting ready to open an art gallery here in Louisiana, and it's going to feature art from him, art from me, a lot of different activities for kids and adults where I'll be teaching prophetic art. And so my whole thing is around mental health. And so I noticed how art really helped me. I had a mental health diagnosis from the military. And I noticed how art really helped me. The more I painted, it really was therapeutic. And so I wanted to incorporate mental health in the company as well. And so pretty much Ordained Canvas, we use art to basically bring mental and emotional therapy to the soul. That's our motto. And all of this started with the restoration of the relationship with my father. So that's key. People see me doing all these things now and they love the art and stuff like that. But it started with forgiveness. It started with me reaching out to my dad. Now I'm able to display his art and display all of the gifts and things that he's been pouring into for years. And I also be partnering with other inmates as well, because of course they're on the inside of there. Some of them have life, and they need somebody on the outside that will really help them get their gifts out even while they're in there. And a lot of things that my dad does, he basically mentors people from the inside of jail to basically teach them how to build their life as if they were getting out. And so my dad, he's been hustling for years, y'all, like stuff that I didn't even know. He's been doing drawings from inside of jail, putting the money back on his books, and then buying more supplies, selling art inside of jail, selling art all over Houston, because he's in jail in Texas. That's where he's from. And just everybody knows D-Love. Everybody knows him, but I never knew that side of him, because I was just holding all of the stuff against him just from him not being there. And so basically, that's how Art and Canvas was birthed. And so now I'm wanting to get into jail reform and just
hold up, because we're gonna get to that.
Okay,
we're gonna get to that. But first I want to know. When I read over it, first of all, that story is beautiful. You know what I mean? And I wish you and your father continued, success in building that relationship that you guys lost over the years. But when I was reading through your bio, I seen where it says prophetic art. I need you to define that for me.
So prophetic art, y'all, I didn't even know what it was called. All I knew is that I would sit down, I would paint something. Sometimes it'll look crazy at first, but in the end, it would be beautiful. Like, this is before I even let anybody else see my art. And I was like, what is this? Like, where does this came from? So the whole gist of it came from me growing my relationship with God. And so when I would sit down and paint, I swear I cannot explain this. It's not even me. Like, it's like he's literally leading my hands. He gives me visions of colors. Sometimes I wake up and he'll give me a color. Now he's relating paintings to people's life situations and their brands. Like, it's insane. And so it's prophetic because it's literally linked to God. Like, I do not have no idea where this gift came from. Like I said, I know my dad was an artist, but God just flows through my fingers. And so that's why it's prophetic art.
That is awesome. Are those some of your works behind you?
Actually, all of these. So here's the thing. I had so much art of mine that I've been kind of taking over to the gallery. So all of this is actually my dad's stuff that I picked up.
Can we see a couple of them?
Yeah, and I have some more. So this is my dad when he was younger, y'all. He drew this thing of him and like some tigers. And he only uses pen and color pencils. Like, this is insane.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
It's really insane. So like I said, he does wallets. So I'll have stuff like this for sale. This is a purse. I couldn't even sell it. I'm gonna have to keep it. But this is like a money green purse that he literally hand design, y'all.
Man, that is nice.
He does. I mean, he does all kinds of stuff. Duffel bags. This is another drawing he did of Prince. That's and he said all of this stuff is stored up. And so now I'm able to go and get, some of his stuff. But he can draw anything. Like, I think he just told me that he only uses pencil. He literally only pencil to draw this. It's Martin Luther King.
That's wow.
Yeah,
that's a nice picture.
It's insane. So yeah, so that's all his stuff. I do more acrylics, and I call it modern abstract because it doesn't look like your normal abstract because I incorporate spray paint in it. So it is different, from other artists. But I do have some of my pieces on the website though.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you guys how I know DeLisa. Okay, we were all stationed together on the boat, and I was actually her. She was a CS. If y'all don't know, she was a cook, but we all slept in the same berth, and so I would see her in passing. I would see her in passing. Anytime you saw her, she had a book in her hand.
Sure did.
She would voice whatever she had to say, but she wasn't in a whole lot of mess. It was just, she was just noticeable. So one day I was going up and she was cursing somebody else. You know how you look? It was her, so just seeing her there on Liberty. And then I ended up being her career counselor when we had this thing called perform to serve, where they were you didn't have to like act up or anything. You know, they were downgraded and downsizing the Navy, so they were letting people go. And she was one who name came up on the list. So, you know, we did what we did to kind of try to keep her, see if we can keep her in. But really, we knew like it really wasn't nothing we could do because Big Navy had already stamped it. But it's like how she was guided by God. Like, you know, like, do you feel like because your life went in a whole nother direction? Oh, and she's an artist. What is it? Leaked from my pen.
That started out as the writing company. So all of this is new to me. So I had to incorporate writing because I didn't want to give it up. So one of the things that I do as well, I basically it's like a $5,000 service, and I waive the fee for inmates so that they can get their stories out, because there's a lot of authors that are in jail as well. So yeah, Leap From My Pen was my first company. It was a writing company, and I worked with celebrities back when I was in college and did a lot of stuff from them. And that's how Leap From My Pen was birthed, because I saw the gifting that I had with helping people write books and book cover designs and stuff like that. And then so I was just hard pressed on my writing company, y'all. I did not. It's like, even though I would see paint and would be drawn to it, I was just telling God, like, no, like I want to do my writing. Like everybody know I've loved books for as long as I can remember. Used to journal in high school. So I took that same mindset into the military and just books. I was writing books, just all of this kind of stuff. So it really took a lot for me to kind of transition into merging them instead of just being out about the writing company. So yeah, Leap From My Pen was my first company. It's still an active company, but as I said, I'm not really taking on personal clients. I'm really working with inmates to get their stories out. And actually, the first book that I'm putting out in relation to inmates is the portrait book of me and my dad. It actually came out last year. But since we've, rekindled our relationship, I kind of redid it. So I'm doing a special edition that will be out in March, but it's available for pre-order right now on my website. So basically that.
What's the name of it and what's your website?
Yeah, it's called Rekindled Hidden Treasures. And it's the subtitle is A Daughter Reconnects with Her Incarcerated Father. And so my dad had sent me these poems that he wrote like 3 years ago, but that was back when I was still in unforgiveness and stuff. So I didn't pay any attention to it. So as we restored our relationship, I decided to put some of my poems and his poems in a book and just kind of like give everybody an overview of our story. So me and my dad, like we have some of the same things that went on. Like my dad dealt with suicide right before he went back into his gifts of drawing and stuff. He had suicide and he wanted to take his own life. And I dealt with it as well. Like once I got out of the military. So just our story, like it amazes me. And I'm so humbled by it. But at the same time, it's like, God, like this whole time, this is what you were doing, and I had no idea.
That's awesome. And I'm gonna bring Mike back into the conversation since you brought up mental health, and just to ask Mike, was that something that he ever had to deal with, but just off of what you had to deal with in life, that trauma plus the time that you might have spent incarcerated?
Yes, absolutely. I haven't been diagnosed with any mental health. However, the trauma that we face all has an immense effect on our mental health. And it takes, I had to forge that intellectual fortitude to move.
Right.
And I believe that's why a lot of us in impoverished communities, I won't say refuse, but really refuse. Yeah, refuse to move forward because of the trauma. Because of what we experienced, not using it as an excuse, but when you don't have anyone around you that can help you move past that, because you know how it is in the hood. Like we just hear, oh, it's okay, or it's cool, and you just live with it.
So when you talked about your school,
am I right? You just live with it. Like it's like, oh, that's what we do. Barbershop talk, beauty shop talk, until you're exposed to something different.
Right.
Yeah, and you guys are so hard headed. I had one of my sailors, they were worked in DC. We were logistics specialists, but they worked where it did the damage control, like change the filters, check the battle lanterns, and make sure everything was up to code in our spaces. And I was I don't know how to give it a name because he might not want people to know. Well, anyway, they were doing a battle lantern check and they found a body hanging. You know, both of these guys ended up getting out the military, and I don't know if either one of them seek help or went and got that PTSD part looked at in the trauma, like, because as men in Black, you guys have to put on this front to be strong at all times. You don't want to exude weakness. You don't want to come off weak. You don't want to express yourself unless you're angry. You know, and I always say that, like, you know, I'm like that too. We can't tell people we hurt. Can't tell people we love them. You know, that's a struggle. But when we mad, oh, we can take it to a chin. You know, that's what we see. I've learned my whole life how to show somebody I'm mad or show somebody they got me fucked up. But that love, I love you, and you know, of course I got it. You know, of course, I have a thing called agape love. I don't know if you guys ever heard about it. You know, it's like something that I give effortlessly, but like in my mind, that really don't be what the hell I be thinking, you know. But, I mean, you know, I just be like, you go through your career and stuff, and you deal with these sailors, and it's like some of them you just never can get out your mind because of, you know, the things that you know that they went through, or things that you went through and you know they did too, and how you sitting up here trying to pretend like everything 100. Or ain't nothing wrong, or this and this, unless they talking about some money, you know.
Right. And we harbor them, and those feelings of pain and deep-seated antipathy it almost convulges itself out on other people, and we do it inadvertently. Like soon as an issue come up, it all arises, and it just comes pouring out. And you're right, we are hurting. You absolutely
Let me ask DeLisa a question because you know, I'm a father. I have one daughter, and I could not imagine not having a relationship with her. So what happened for you to decide that you were going to go back and repair the relationship with your father?
Actually, it was my close friend, and my past relationship. He just really pressed me hard on restoring the relationship with my dad. And this is something that I've had so many people tell me over the years. Even as a kid, my mom would always be like, you know, you need to write your dad back. You need to go see him and stuff like that. And I've seen them here and there. But one thing I talked about in a letter that I wrote him was that I felt like we had a surface relationship. Like, because I still wanted that fatherly love whenever I would see him in person, I would, you know, appear to be happy, and he would tell me about his book ideas and stuff like that. But it's like I wasn't really hearing it because my heart wasn't in it. And so it took him, my ex, to really push me to really just reach out, because he's a father. But so many people have been telling me over the years, my mom, even my stepdad, he raised me, but he used to always be like, you know, your dad does all these drawings and stuff for you. You could tell he really loves you. You need to reach out to him. And so it's like a lot of people, I've heard this before, that people have situations with their parent that's incarcerated, but the parent either doesn't reach out a lot, or they give up or something like that. And it's like, my dad never gave up, y'all, all the way up until I was 29, to me first writing him back. He consistently wrote me. He consistently told my grandmother, you know, to have me call him. It's like he never, ever stopped. And so that push last year, it really allowed me to reach out to him. And I had no idea that I was going to forgive him or anything. But it's like through writing him that letter, I just felt this release, and I knew that I had forgiven him. And then receiving the letter back in response of him telling me what all he had gone through. And he really never wanted to be the kind of dad that he turned out being. He actually wanted to be the good dad because his father wasn't there. Right. But unfortunately, you know, that's how his life turned out. And I had never, ever heard his side. Even growing up, nobody could ever tell me why my dad was in jail. Like, my mom would just always be like, he's a good person. He's so gifted, but he just got caught up with the wrong people. And it's like, I never knew the real story. And I found out that my dad had been addicted to drugs once. He had been, you know, with the wrong group of people, and he was the one that was gifted and like was the oddball, but he still, you know, trying to fit in and stuff like that. And I found out so much about his life, and I had no idea. I had no idea.
Right. And it's I'm happy again that that you guys were able to come back together. But when I speak about the collateral damage that's done, this is basically what I'm talking about. It sounds like your pops wasn't really like out here really wilding out, but just sometimes you find yourself in a position where you're in the wrong place at the wrong time doing the wrong thing. And we spoke earlier doing Peaches Picks where the girls stabbed a 15-year-old girl, and I think that they themselves will wind up suffering because of the exact same thing. But Mike, I know one of the things that you spoke about when you was talking about your building your school was having your clinical psychologist and so forth on campus. What type of how vital do you think that is to the development of the kids?
It's essential. It's paramount. It's the number one, because where the mind goes, the body will follow.
Facts.
And I think about a lot of the things we as a culture collectively get ourselves to first starts in the mind. And we make fleshly decisions that our minds have to live with. You understand what I mean? And that's and that's where the psychological pain comes in at first. Even before we get started in something, people, us sometimes, how you get started doing something and you feel like quitting, where it start, you quit first up here.
Yeah.
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 So that's paramount. That's number one. You have to develop the right mindset and know that we won't always be motivated to complete something. Like, because oftentimes we're only motivated to do what we like. So when the motivation leaves, then what? We have to become disciplined. And successful people, such as everybody here who I'm talking to, you all, they subordinate the right now for the greater good. And it comes discipline. And that's how vital having a clinical psychologist are.
That's awesome. DeLisa, I want to come back to you and say and ask about this program that you have for the inmates to write. We heard about how you came upon that, but how has it been going?
It's been going good so far. Like I said, we're starting out with the book that I'm in with my dad, since he's still incarcerated. And then he brings people to me. So basically we're starting out at his facility first, since he knows everybody and he's been knowing these people for like a while, and he sees like the gift in them. He basically has people on the waiting list pretty much. And they're like, once we're done with our book and once it's officially out, then he'll just start sending me people. And so that's pretty much how it's going right now. And then of course, once the word gets all the way out, different people from different locations will start finding out about it and things like that.
I wonder what kind of difference it makes for the inmate.
Yeah.
To have somebody, not just do this for them as part of a program, but it's kind of like you believe in them.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So have you had the chance to kind of like sit down with anybody? And
I have actually he brought me this guy's book, and when I tell y'all, this dude is a writer. Like, somebody can take his book right now and start a show with it.
Right.
And,
really?
Yeah, we were supposed to do his book first, but then my dad went back and was like, let's do ours first, to set that as the foundation. But Lord, his writing is insane. I ended up writing him letters back and forth, and I spoke to him on the phone, and he's just had such a hard time over the years trying to get his family to publish his books. He's tried to save up money for different companies to publish his books, but he really didn't have the money and stuff like that. And so after talking with my dad, I decided to just do that, from my heart. Even though I have paying clients, I just decided to do that. And just to hear him talk about his gift and his love of writing and how it's just a God-given gift. Like, he really just can sit down, make up a story, and write a book. So even working with him and talking to him, it's been like such a blessing, and it really makes me see and understand, somewhat what they experience in there, where they have these gifts and the things that they want to do, but they don't have the support, and unfortunately, they really don't have the support from their families a lot. Even my dad, he was telling me the stuff that I'm doing now, which I feel like it was meant for me to do it, but at the same time, the stuff that I'm doing now, he's had family members with the money to push it. They never saw it, like they couldn't see the vision. You know, he's been trying to, like I say, he's been doing art for years. He's been trying to really get to this point. He's had different people make Facebook pages for him, but they never were consistent, you know, and things like that. So to just be able to talk to him and to find out, you know, who has a book in them that they want to write and that they need to write, it's just been a blessing. It really has.
Man, well, you know, I hate, you know, that we at the end point of the show, but
somebody keeps telling me to say poem. They probably say
they want you to do a poem.
Oh, they want me to do a poem.
Oh yeah, if you got one, go ahead. I would love to hear one.
I'm gonna have to pull it up, y'all.
Go ahead, pull it up.
I got my doctor.
Louisiana. I'm about to pull it up, y'all.
I thought they was trying to say said because I know I'm country. People always be talking about say something. Yeah, I got the book right here. I can do one for y'all.
Okay.
Second. Let me try to find a short one. I gotta go to the end because all my dad's forms at the top. Like I say, we put this book out last year and you know, got some sales and stuff like that. But I really wanted to redo it to incorporate my dad some more. And so now on the new book cover, he's on there. It's about to be insane. It's really good.
Good.
So let me go and find one real quick, y'all. I'm gonna try to find a short one.
Look.
What's my autobiography?
Hey, G-Man, talk about do it.
He said my autobiography. Is he talking about, do you got something called that? Or did you Google her?
What he said?
He probably did.
My autobiography.
No, I don't have a poem called it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's talking about this subject is his life story.
Could be. Could be.
I'm gonna do this one. It's called No. I feel like it's appropriate. It's called No One Cries for the Queen. No one cries for the queen. So she straightens her crown, lifts her shoulders, extends her back, and walks past like an angel, gliding through the air. No one cries for the queen. The smile planted on her face covers up the invisible bruises etched in her skin. Her bones are weakened. Restless, she walks past. To you, she's gotten her beauty sleep. Confined behind closed doors, no peace comes to her. Everything sits on her like cement poured into the ground. And all that steps upon the pavement lands straight on her back. No one cries for the queen, but nothing stops her. She carries it all. She may bend, but she'll never break.
I like that. I like that. That was nice. That was nice.
We got
Yeah. We might have to do something. Hey, anyway, so DeLisa, we're gonna give you the floor first to kind of let people know where they can find all of your websites, social media, so forth and so on.
Yes, so all of my social media, DeLisa TreShelle is like that's everything. Twitter, Instagram, everything with the art company is Ordained Canvas. The website is www.DeLisaTreShelleblog.com. And then if you want to go to check out some art or anything like that, it's just /shop. And the Ordained Canvas website will be coming soon, but that's the active website right now. Awesome.
And that website I see is already in the comment section.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to go and check the comment section out, hit that and support the system and what you're doing.
I have the book for pre-order and the cover is up. The new cover, I love it. I have the new cover up there, and it's for pre-order. So if you pre-order it, you'll just get a signed copy when it comes out. And I have my painting consultation on there, and that serves the art I do and the art that my dad does. So if you was to do a consultation, it's $20, and it just goes towards your balance. And so basically, I do a Zoom call, and I just get your details, see the space that you want your art in, and then we go from there. And I also have a lot of my resin art, like the trays and stuff that I do, coasters and stuff like that. All of this on there. So
I definitely want to probably get on the pre-order list so I can have my signed copy sent to me.
Yes.
All right, Mike. Mike, what you got for him? Where we need to find you at, and what you got coming out already?
Oh yeah, I got well, first I have 2 albums out on all online stores. One is called Faith Without Doubt by Dr. Mike, and the other one is I just released it 2 days ago called Street Literature by Dr. Mike. More of my Instagram is Dr. Mike _IN_THE _ Facebook is Michael Witherspoon. That's WEATHERSPOON MED behind it. Yep.
So it's
My
just
album
as
is
y'all
on
see
all
it on the screen is how you can follow. So just as you see it on the screen at Dr.Mike_N_the_making and Michael Weatherspoon MED on Facebook. Anything else you got?
Yeah, I just followed you.
I had to find the
Okay, thanks.
weird song.
You
The
got it?
We're gonna steal one of his songs for our opening anyway.
Yes,
you guys
we are.
want to hear it, but it's a song called "Game Plan." That's on his new album. I love it. You know.
Thank you.
Indeed. So, Peaches, any shout outs?
I just want to shout out all the Black-owned businesses. G-Man, my cousin Tip, thank you for joining. Lamar, I can't wait to see y'all tomorrow. You know, I'm going to be in the comments. Everybody else, Claudia, Marquise, everybody that joined us, we thank you. Make sure you like, comment, and share. We're trying to get our lives and our exposure up. And a very special shout out to my mom, Valerie Terrell Byrne. Today she celebrate her 16th year sobriety. You know, it feels good to Keisha Cole and Jeezy, that song "Dreaming." That's my mom. I'm proud of you. Love you.
Indeed. I want to I'm gonna give a shout out to the Man Down Podcast Network, to the I Often Wonder podcast. I appreciate the support from both of y'all guys. Definitely, I want to give a big shout out to Mike and to DeLisa for coming on. Your stories are both truly inspirational stories. Hopefully, we can have you guys back. Mike, I already have a show in my mind where we're going to talk about the state of the church and what responsibility it has in the community.
Man, listen.
So we'll contact you about
that too, because y'all don't listen. Like, I tune into her lives and stuff when she goes live, and she's an advocate for that. She's very spiritual as well. So
yeah. So we'll love to have you guys come back in on that, man. But other than that, man, this is your main man with the game plan, Sincere, in the building. That's my co-host Peaches, and this has been the Black Owned Podcast. Salute, kinfolk.